All right, shalom, shalom. I greet you in the Hebrew tongue peace. This is Brother Yahcanon coming to you with another lesson. The lesson for today will be entitled, The Devil is a Lie. And I mean that literally. What we're going to go over today is the devil, all right? So it go like this here. There's no such thing as the boogeyman, okay? When it was time for your parents to punish you, they didn't go and get somebody next door. You know what I'm saying? They ain't go find nobody else. You know, they served you with rewards when you did good. And when you did bad, they was the same one that punished you. You feel me? That's just the way the game went. So that's the same relationship we have with God. You know, we get our rewards and our punishments from the same place. God don't need nobody to go get no help, to punish nobody. It don't work like that. So we are going to shed a little bit of light on the subject and see what happened to us. Before we could even walk and talk, we were introduced to a couple of characters. One of the characters was Jesus and the other one was the devil. You didn't have no understanding of it. You was already told, what was going on. So what this was is called priming the brain. When you prime the brain, what that basically does is it already tells you something before you see it. It gets you ready for the setup. So whenever you read something, this and that, it's already going along with what you've been told already. So we was already told by Jesus and the devil. It wasn't no need us doing no, research. It was already laid out for us what it was. Okay, so that's how you prime somebody's brain. And all of them was like that. So regardless of what we ever read, what we ever saw, we was already primed, about the devil, what the devil was, this evil, wicked man that had fell from heaven. You know what I'm saying? We all got the same story. So we're going to break it down, all right? So let's go to, and the problem with that type of indoctrination is you never have any kind of self-accountability. You know what I mean? Whenever things go good, you're going to thank, and whenever things go bad, you're going to blame it on. Thank you very much. Everybody did that in unison without me even having to say it, because you'd already been indoctrinated for it. All right. Satan is a Hebrew word. So we're going to look up what you're going to need today for this lesson. We're going to need our Vine's dictionary. All right. With Hebrew words and Greek words. And you're also going to need your Holy Bible. All right. So let's go to our dictionary first and let's look up the word Satan and see what Satan means. All right, in Hebrew. You know how they run game. It's going to be one way in Hebrew and something else when you get over there to the New Testament. All right, Satan in the Hebrew means adversary. That's it. Adversary. So who is your adversary? When you're in the courtroom and you're going against the prosecutor, that's your adversary. When someone is opposing you, going in opposition of you, that's your adversary. When you have enemies, those are your adversaries. People are going against you. When you have someone that's trying to kill you, that's an adversary to you. When you are trying to do the will of God and somebody comes against you to oppose you from trying to do the will of God, that is your adversary. That would be Satan. If you were using the Hebrew word, it would be Satan. That's it. Simple. That's where Satan comes from. That's the definition of it. Don't go no further with it. So what they did was they went in and removed Satan from the Bible 24 different times in the Old Testament. Okay? Let's look at some places where they removed it. Just like they removed Yah 6,828 times and replaced it with the word Lord in the so-called Old Testament. Should have been called the Book of Remembrance based on Malachi chapter 3, verse 16 through 18. They went in and they removed Satan 24 times from the scriptures to obscure its meaning. Okay, so let's go into the Bible and let's look at where they removed Satan from. Okay, and replaced it with adversary. All right. One of the times is in Psalms 38, verse 20. So let's go to our Bible, and we're going to go to Psalms 38 and 20, and I am going to read. It says, those also who render evil for good, they are my adversaries, because I follow what is good. Let me highlight this so you can see it. This is Psalms 38:20. All right. That is the word adversaries right there in Psalms 38:20. You can see it highlighted. Okay. You see that real well? All right. That's what Satan should have been. They removed it. So what it should have read was, those who render evil for good, they are Satan, because I follow what is good. So that's one place they remove Satan. Another place they remove Satan is Psalms 109, verse 4. That's another place. We're not going to go to all of them. I'm going to just tell you. 109, verse 4. They removed it. Write it down. Check it out. Because those enemies repaid him evil for good and hatred for love, the king prayed, set thou a wicked man over him, and let Satan stand at his right hand. Psalms 109, verse 6. You also have Psalms 109, verse 20. You also have Psalms 109, verse 29. Another place it was 2 Samuel, chapter 19, verse 22. You also have 1 Kings 11 and 14. There are some other places as well. I just went over a few. It's the Hebrew word 7854 in your Strong's Concordance. If you go to Google Strong's Concordance, it is the Hebrew word 7854. Okay, we got that part down. So do we have a good understanding of what Satan was? David talked about men being Satan because they were his adversaries. So you can go back and read that on your time with them scriptures I gave you. Okay. What do we want to go to next? Okay, so if you stand against God, if God tell you to do something, and then God can also stand against you with Satan as well. God can be your adversary because now you're going against God. Okay, and you already know I'm going to give you the scripture that go along with it. So let's go to Numbers 22, verse 22. Numbers 22 and 22. Let's go to it. Numbers 22 and 22. All right. Then God's anger was aroused because he went, and the angel of the Lord took his stand in the way as an adversary against him. And he was riding on his donkey, and his two servants were with him. That word adversary in 22, guess what? Satan. So the angel of Yah took his stand in the way as Satan against him. All right? Just put Satan back in there where it's supposed to go. They removed that word out of there. All right? So even the Creator, the Almighty, can be Satan, can stand against you. Anybody who is opposing you, you feel me? Okay. Let's go to another verse in Isaiah 45:7. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 45, verse 7. All right. We're going to kill the devil right here with this verse right here. All right. Isaiah 45, verse 7 reads, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create calamity. I, Yah, do all these things. All right. You see that right there? The Creator say, I create light and make darkness. You know, like I told you before, there's no need for anybody else. The Creator can do anything to you that needs to be done. Don't need no help or nothing. You feel me? Just go down. All right? So that should help right there. You know what I'm saying? They say if you want to hide anything from black folks, just put it in a book. And they've done it. Okay. Now let's go to, this is where the trickery comes in at. Now, remember our rule of thumb that we're going to work with and we're going to live with. Anytime you change the language, you can change the definition. The same thing has been done with Satan. They changed. There was Satan in the Hebrew, which means adversary. Then when you get over here to the Greek, the New Testament was written in a language called Koine Greek that was written by a organization called the Hellenists. Guess what they promoted? Hell. You feel me? So what they did when we get over here to the New Testament, all of a sudden the word devil appears. Okay? All of a sudden, you feel me? So let me read you the definition now in the Greek of devil. Here it is. Devil is one of the names of Satan. From the English word devil is derived and should be applied only to Satan as a proper name. Straight up bullshit, okay? Straight up bullshit. Now all of a sudden over here in the New Testament, the devil is the name and the only name that should be given for Satan. We just told you that Satan was just the adversary. You know, that's all it meant. You know, now all of a sudden Satan is a living being called the devil now. Okay? Boom, there you have it. So you see the game that was played. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you where Satan was used correctly in the New Testament, when Jesus or Yeshua or Horus, whatever you want to call the character's name, used it when he told Peter, "Get thee behind me, Satan." And the reason it was used correctly was because this was a man that was opposing another man from doing the will of God. And so anytime anybody is opposing you, they are Satan to you. Okay? Just that simple. Not complicated, people. I'm going to break it down for you, all right? Ain't that hard. Know you've been indoctrinated, don't know what's going on, lost in the sauce around this bad boy. Okay? All right. Now, whenever, you start getting into this stuff, man, people going to always try to come against you with prophecies and this and that and all that nonsense. So what we're going to do, we're going to go in here, we're going to break some more stuff down, because what they're going to come at you with to oppose you with this is the so-called prophecy of the devil, which is totally untrue. Let's go to Isaiah 14 and 12, where we're going to run into that opposition at. And let's look at the scriptures and see what it actually says here. Okay. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. Let's go to verse 4 first. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 14, verse 4, and it reads, "That you will take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say," and boom, it starts going down. It was talking about the king of Babylon, first of all. That's it, mere man. Wasn't talking about nothing else, but we done been indoctrinated, and our preachers who preach to us have been sent to seminary schools, that these wicked white folks on, who doing their best to guide you in the wrong way. You feel me? Into deception. So, all right, that was at verse 4, talking about the king of Babylon. Now, when we get up to verse 12, it said, "How you are fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning." That Lucifer right there was a Latin word that was nowhere to be found. That got put in here a whole lot later on for deception. That's all it is. Lucifer meant bright morning star. They were sitting up talking about the king of Babylon, how he was so adorned and looked so good that he was just shining. You know what I'm saying? So let's drop down a little bit further to verse 16. It says, "Those who see you will gaze at you and consider you, saying, 'Is this the man?'" You see that? It's the man who made the earth tremble, who shook kingdoms. It was just a mere man. You feel me? That's all it was to it. And all you got to do is read. Don't, block out all that nonsense that you've been told all your life. You know what I'm saying? And just read. Just throw everything you've been told out and just simply sit up here and read this stuff for yourself with the clues. You got to be an investigator on this thing. I gave you the tools for it. You feel me? Okay, now one more thing we need to discuss, which is very important. We're going to get into this later. We're not going to touch on this particular lesson right here. The book of Job got Satan in there a lot. Don't even read it. You feel me? We're going to get on that later on, because they did some more game with the book of Job. And before we get into the book of Job, we got to get into the book of Jasher, but we're going to do that on another lesson. But like I said, don't even deal with the book of Job right now. The book of Job was something they, put in there to throw y'all off, to introduce Satan to you, and all that nonsense once again. But like I said, we'll get into that another day. If you got any questions, leave your questions in the comments. If you like the lessons we teaching, make sure you hit subscribe. Share these videos to your page. We got a whole lot more of them coming. I appreciate your patience. Black folks attention span is not very long, so we try to keep these videos very short. But appreciate your time and your energy. Much love, peace and blessing. Shalom, shalom, power to the people. Peace and love.